Well, that was a close one. Well, good morning. And in today's news, some interesting Civil War-ish kind of things. Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel define Trump's orders. Let's take a look at it. Over at the Daily Mail, reporting that Tulsi Gabbard has defied Elon Musk. Now remember, she's the director of national intelligence, basically the top spy. She's the M to James Bond. Does that make Kash Patel James Bond? It might. Anyway, this is their response, or at least Kash Patel's response to this email from Elon Musk's Doge. Please reply to this email with approximately 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week and CC your manager. Don't send any classified material. Deadline is Monday. Okay. Now, so the news is selling it as the defiance of Trump. It might be. They might be trying to set some boundaries. And if I was in their shoes, I would probably do the same. However, it is the president. He's not just your boss. And even then, you probably should listen to your boss most of the time. To be fair, they're not the only two that have responded in this way. I believe their exact words, here we go. This is from Kash Patel. FBI personnel may have received an email from OPM requesting information. The FBI, through the Office of the Director, is in charge of all of our review processes and will conduct reviews in accordance with FBI procedures. When and if further information is required, we will coordinate the response. So, please pause any responses. Thank you, Kash Patel. Okay. So he responded in that way, and I believe Tulsi Gabbard also responded in a similar way. In fact, I think they have the quote here. Given the inherently sensitive and classified nature of our work, IC employees should not respond to the OPM email. Now, Trump could have told them, you guys are good, I trust you. We don't know that. Maybe he did. I would not defy the order. It's a really simple request. Are you good at your job is what they're asking. Should you be here? And should you be employed? That's a question most of your managers are going to ask you. Now, when you're in charge, you kind of hate for an outside audit to kind of do that. I think, while I understand why they are responding in that way, and I believe Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth also did the same thing, which leads me to believe that Trump told them not to bother. But no one said that. That's just my assumption. It leads me to believe that they're just trying to set boundaries and separate themselves from Trump in a little bit to show that they're an independent agency. But they're also the boss, and they kind of go, hey, we don't need your help. We got ourselves. Basically, that's what Kash Patel said, is FBI does its own internal review. Kind of surprising for Kash Patel to say that, considering he's pretty much in favor of shutting down the FBI. So for him to say that, it's kind of weird. There's probably a lot more to this story than we're getting. I want to know what Trump's thought process is on all this. Trump's trying to get to be fair, this isn't literally Trump sending this email. It's Doge and probably not even Elon Musk to an extent. Let's see. And this is just about more lawsuits. Would I find this to be insubordinate if I was Trump? Yeah, a little bit. If I said, hey, I need you to do this. And really, when you think about it, you want an outside agency to be able to audit your agency. Well, I mean, you may not want it, but it should occur. You can't just have an agency say, well, we audit ourselves. Don't worry about it. You can trust us. Nothing bad ever happens. Yeah. Don't worry. The federal government never, ever would release a disease into America on purpose or on accident. Don't worry. We checked ourselves. You can trust us. Yeah. There's a lot of issues with just blindly trusting an agency to do what's right, as much as you would like to. And I don't think Tulsi Gabbard or Kash Patel are going to do a bad job or going to be nefarious in any way. But this is an order they should probably kind of look at and go, we'll do it. Just send them your information. Or if you can't, say, yeah, I accomplished 5 things, but they're all classified and I can't tell you about it. That's what I would respond with. It would be the best way to kind of piss off the auditor by also most likely telling the truth. Most likely. Yeah. I just can't. I mean, a bit in business, you have to have audits. I have an audit every year from an insurance company that checks how much I pay my employees. They ask, and I have to give a number. I have to say, I pay these people this amount of money, and this is how much the owners make. This is how much everybody makes. And they base my insurance off of that. This is kind of the same deal to an extent. You are finding out whether these employees are good employees. I mean, if I went to my employees and all said, hey, you guys do a good job this week? Who's going to answer no? I mean, it'd be great if you're that honest, but I don't think anybody's that honest. They ain't Jesus. So, I mean, even if my employee and my boss, I have bosses over me, if they ask me, what'd you accomplish this week? I'd come up with something. Granted, I try to accomplish a lot of things, and of course my employees are great people. But look at it that way. You're never going to get people to really say this answer honestly. They'll make stuff up if they have to. So, sending an email waiting for a response, the more I think about it, the more stupid this is. This is really a waste of time. What they really should do is this. And let me switch over to it here, and I will show you what they really should do here. This is a quote from Office, or a scene from Office Space. And it really kind of is Doge. These two guys here are the Doge guys. They're they're consultants hired by this firm to streamline the company and help make it more efficient so they can make more money. So they're interviewing the employees, and I want you to take a look at it and just, if you've in an office world, you'll understand what's going on here.
What you do at Initech is you take the specifications from the customers and you bring them down to the software engineers.
Yes, that's right.
Well, then I just have to ask, why couldn't the customers just take them directly to the software people, huh?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because engineers are not good at dealing with customers.
So
Yeah, so we're gonna keep watching this for a second or two, but I have to interject here. That's how it works. Now they're making fun of it here, but I order parts from people all the time, and sometimes I'll have a salesperson I talk to who is the guy that talks to the engineers. Now, could the engineers do this themselves? Probably, but sometimes engineers are actually busy doing engineering things. And you can't just always have them talking to a customer. So while in this scene they make it look like he's useless, and at this company, he probably is. He's a software engineer. I deal with manufacturing. So this probably is a useless position. But to be fair, it's not always useless. To say salespeople are, irrelevant and shouldn't be there, it'd be wrong. They really are important, but in this instance, he is useless completely. There is no reason to basically have a guy only do one thing by writing down a sales order and physically dropping it off to the engineer for them to make it. If that's the only thing, if the engineers still have to process all that paperwork, then you're just a person who carries things from one place to another. I mean, while mail delivery is important, it doesn't really have to move from one floor to the next. You could just, have that done. And they're a software company, so they can just have an email set up for the engineers and a phone line, and they're good to go. Anyway, let's keep going here for a second.
you physically take the specs from the customer?
Well, no, my secretary does that, or the fax.
So then you must...
So he has a secretary that does his job for him. Yeah, okay. That happens a lot.
physically bring them to the software people.
Well, no. Yeah, I mean, sometimes.
What would you say you do here?
That is the line right there. What would you say you do here? That is Elon Musk. That is what he's doing with the federal government. He's asking, what would you say you do here? What's the point of your job, and is it necessary? Now, I assume that he understands that people are not going to answer correctly, like I said before, and just tell the truth and say, yeah, my job's useless, you should fire me. If somebody says that, I'd be very impressed. And honestly, I'd be inclined to keep them if they're that honest. But, but that's what he's asking.
Well, look, I already told you. I deal with the customers so the engineers don't have to. I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people?
So now he's freaking out. Obviously, if you watch the movie, you know he's been freaking about this interview for a while. He was kind of the conspiracy theorist that kind of called it all, said these guys were here to fire everybody, and he was right.
Hey.
Yeah. So that is basically, there's a great movie, Office Space. I think is it maybe Mike Judge? I think it's Mike Judge. Great movie. But anyway, that's basically what Elon Musk is trying to do. He is basically being those two guys, interviewing all of the federal government to see whose jobs are useless and whose jobs are worth keeping. And he's gotten rid of a lot of people. I mean, I think they reported on here. Let's see. He placed 2,200 U.S. aid orders on leave, paid leave, and that was a restraining order that was removed by a judge. Judge placed one and then had to have it removed. Let's see. People are getting mad at Trump for all this, and I have never seen Democrats defend the government so much, and it makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. The government, it's the government. The government's run by Trump. So what if he fires everybody? He's only making himself less powerful. They call him a tyrant or a dictator, and I'm like, okay, wait, so he's a dictator who is limiting his power by shrinking the government and having less control over the people in the states. That's a dictator to you? If anything, if you are on the other side of this, if you're a Democrat, you should be looking at this going, yeah, Trump can't tell me anything. I'm doing what I want. And if he gets rid of the government, I can do whatever I want and I'm free. Great. That's what you should be thinking. I have no idea why people are so up in arms about this. I understand people who lost their jobs. Yeah, I'd be mad too. Can't blame them. If you have friends that lost their jobs, I can't blame you for being mad at Trump. That makes sense. At least you have a good reason. You go, yeah, my buddy lost his job. Trump fired him. And honestly, Trump probably fired a few people that probably were good at their jobs. There is no way you can fire that many people and not make a mistake. It's just true. You gotta love it, though. Politics. This is the most interesting presidency I've seen in my lifetime. And I've been through Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump 1, Biden-ish, and then Trump number 2. Trump 2, that's the better one. Trump first one, he walked in as a Republican and thought, I can trust all these people. They said they voted for me. Yeah, that didn't work out too well for him. Trump's taking, he's trusting no one right now, and I can't say I blame him. He's right not to trust any of these people. I wouldn't. So it's good that he's putting his own people on. I think Kash Patel is going to do a great job. Anybody who's distrustful of the system should be there. Tulsi Gabbard seems like a very smart lady. I saw her debates during the when she was a Democrat and when she interviewed John Stossel. I didn't like her stance on guns, and maybe she's changed it. You know how people change things. But she seemed like a genuine person who was just trying to get things done and had her own opinions, and she wasn't really crazy. Yeah, I think that's about right. And golly, Robert F. Kennedy. He's distrustful of the medical industry because he's a lawyer that sues them. That's basically what he did for a living for a long time. He filed lawsuits against drug companies. So he's distrustful of them. That's good. The government shouldn't just go, oh, this corporation's great. They're fine. I can trust them. They're not lying to me. I am sure they did their research and due diligence on that drug they're sending out. Yeah, they're okay. No, you want a guy who's going to ask the hard questions. That's what you want. You want the hard questions asked. Because otherwise, you get things out there that could kill you. And you don't want that. I've been alive my whole life, and I intend to stay that way. Let's see if there's anything more on this article here that I find intriguing. Daily Mail, great stuff, honestly. Usually they list them, I think, on Wikipedia as a tabloid. I've never really come across them as tabloidish. I mean, they have tabloidy stuff. I mean, you probably see it in the right-hand side of the screen. They'll have, oh, so-and-so actor did this or does that. And But usually when we use the word tabloid in America, this is a British newspaper or UK, it's almost always associated with less than true news articles. I've never really found Daily Mail to be all that bad. I mean, there's a slant. They have one. I think they're definitely pro-Ukraine. They're not all pro-Trump. In fact, they really do take an outside view on the whole thing. I never really see too much of super pro-Trump or super against Trump. It's usually somewhere in the middle, and if they do have one, they have another. Yeah, you really, and they'll catch the Democrats and some Republicans doing some crazy stuff. I'm hoping that this is true here, that Doge actually did save $55 billion. That's a great number. Now, when Elon Musk earlier this year said he was going to save $2 trillion, then walked it back to $1 trillion, probably not. Now, there's a lot of ways to say that and actually get away with it. Well, I saved $55 billion this year, and since those were permanent cuts, over the next 10 years, I saved $500 billion. 100 million. Okay. Anyway, that's the, in politics, there's always a spin. There's always a way to make something you said kind of true, but there's also a way to make it kind of false. When he says 2 trillion, I think he literally meant in 1 year, and he hasn't actually made this argument. A politician would. He hasn't. That's why he's walking it back. I think we'll be lucky to get $500 billion cut. I think that would be a great thing. And I believe Tim Pool reported it on his thing. I believe it was him that said it, or somebody on his channel. Correct me if I'm wrong. That it would be a good idea to take some of that money and just provide health care. That's not a bad idea. I mean, if you have the money to spend, I mean, we have a federal deficit that needs to be addressed and paid down, and it's a lot of money. But I wouldn't be sad about that. I believe in the private system with the additions of Affordable Care Act, minus the tax that you get when you can't afford to pay for it, which, thank God, I believe Trump got rid of. But if you're looking for somewhere to spend it, I'd go there. And as much as Elon Musk would love it, and I think it would be a good idea, it should really go to NASA. We need to be a spacefaring species, and we're barely scratching the surface of space. And I think Elon Musk is doing such a great job. 10 years ago, when Elon Musk was starting to launch his rockets and catch them, and he was making a reusable rocket, I thought it was the dumbest idea I've ever heard of. I mean, golly, you got extreme heats, extreme pressures, temperature changes, free fall, and then you have to land it. I thought it would never happen. And I thought it'd be the world's worst idea. And that was when Obama kind of pushed that out. He wanted the commercial industry to take care of space, and NASA stepped back from it a little bit. And I thought this is the worst idea for space flight. It's just never going to be economical. We can only do it as a nation. And, Obama was right. And I was wrong. I did not see this coming. When he started landing them, I'm like, oh, this actually is going to work? I thought it was just a, gimmick. I thought, people say things. Oh, we're going to have a flying car. You know how many times I've heard flying car over my lifetime? The last 25 years, that's all you hear. Next year, we're going to have a flying car, and it's going to be in commercial production. Can you buy one right now? Maybe next year. Well, that's all I have for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I do read as many as I can, and I try to respond to all of them. Even though I believe some people think that I delete them. I don't. Unless you're really bad. Anyway, let me know. Have a blessed day.